Net control.
Net control, this is Teal Charlie 9, Victor Lima Papa, right here in Northeast Appleton. Net control. This is November 9, Tango, November Whiskey, Bill and Kimberly.
Control. Net control, this is KD9CEC, Robert in Little Chute. No traffic.
Okay, look, good time to pause here. Quite a list we got here. The net would like to recognize KD9ZDE from Wisconsin. Didn't get your name. Alex, KD9ZFF. Andrew, KD9ZAH. KD9WAW. I didn't get your name. Joel, WI4WD. Gene, KE8KWF, Larry, WA9TT, sponsor reset, Rod, KD9WCK, Bob, KD9GCX, Greg, W1GCS, and Roy, KC9VLP, Bill, N9TNW, Craig, KD9YJH, who's in and out, and Robert, KD9ZEZ. Any more check-ins for the net? Please go now. This is KC9TFM. Net control.
This is Whiskey 9, Sierra Juliet Oscar, Steve in Greenville. No traffic.
Net control. Net control, this is Whiskey India 9, Mike in Appleton. No traffic.
November 9, Papa Radio, no traffic.
Last party calling, repeat your call sign a little slower, please.
Sure, no problem. November 9, Papa Alpha Radio, portable amateur radio.
Control. Control, this is Kilo Delta 9, Romeo, Quebec, Foxtrot. Jamie and Nina, no traffic.
Okay, good time to pause here. This is KC9TFM, tonight's net control. The net would like to recognize Steve, W9SJO, Mike, W9 Mike, N9PAR, no name, and Jamie, KD9R2F. Any more check-ins? And if not, we'll go to second.
Sorry about that. This is Nick in Green Bay.
Okay, hearing no more checking of traffic, we'll now move on to second goes. For the question of the evening, what was your first 2-meter antenna and how did it work out for you? You can also ask other technical questions, that is for sale or wanted, do an equipment review, or discuss other topics. I'll go first and give you time to think about your first antenna. I had a J-pole mounted on a deck in the back, on the railing of the deck in the back, and it worked great. I was amazed. I built it out of copper. That was a pretty good deal. Next, we'll go on to N9FT in Nina. Go ahead, please.
This is Fred, N9FT in Nina, and it was interesting. The first antenna was a long wire, 180 long. It went from the bedroom window to garage and then to the corner of the fence, and it worked out very, very well. And that's about it. 9FT.
Thank you, Fred. Next, you have KD9ZEE. Oh, I don't have your name, sorry. Go ahead, please.
KD9 Kilo Delta 9 Zulu Echo Zulu. This is actually my first time transmitting. I got my license a few days ago.
Well, thanks for checking into the net. Congratulations. Next, you have Alex, KD9ZFF. Go ahead, please.
First, I'd like to congratulate Zulu Echo Zulu. Congratulations and welcome to the club. My first 2-meter antenna is a J-pole made out of half-inch copper pipe that Elmer helped me make my first time I was licensed back in the 90s, and that's actually what I am still broadcasting on today. KD9 Zulu Foxtrot Foxtrot.
Thank you, Alex. Yeah, the copper J-pole seems to last forever. Next, you have Andrew, KD9ZAH. Go ahead, please.
This is KD9ZAH. So my first antenna is actually the one that's on my rubber ducky deck. You hit the rubber duck? Well, yeah, it's used the rubber duck. But I haven't had any other antennas. But other things I just wanted to say was I think I'm at 37 contacts or something like that. I got my first QSL like 2 or 3 days ago, and my brother got his license on Friday. KD9ZAH, back to that.
Thank you, Andrew. You sound like you're a very up-and-coming ham. Welcome to the hobby. Next, you have KD9WAW in Appleton. Go ahead, please.
Net control, this is Kilo Delta 9er Whiskey Alpha Whiskey, and just for the record, the name here is Matt, Mike Alpha Tango Tango. My first antenna is the one that I use when I'm not doing nets. It's the one that came with the radio that I'm transmitting with when I won it last November when I got this license. Just a simple Diamond RH77CA whip. But I'd also like to, real quick, say hello to Kilo Delta 9er Zulu Alpha Hotel, another audibly young ham. Just fun to see more young people in the hobby like myself. Back to net.
Thank you, Matt. Yes, definitely. Young people are a good idea. And next you have Joel, WI4WD. Good evening, Joel.
Thanks for doing the net. Well, hello to everybody on the net. Special hello to all the new hams. Welcome to the hobby. It's nice to hear some new people. My first antenna was a mobile antenna that I put on my truck because the first radio I had was a mobile that I put in my truck. It was a Hustler FS2 with a mag mount, I think was. I don't have it on there anymore, but it was a 2-meter only antenna because all I had was a 2-meter radio. So I think that's what I think that was my first. Back to net.
Joel. Next we have Gene, KE8KWF. Good evening, Gene. We'll come back to Gene in a moment. Larry, W9TT, how are you this evening?
Good evening, John. You're sounding great. Do want to congratulate, too, the newest of our hams to the club, the fraternity, and congratulations. It's fantastic. We have here a very, very robust net on the Wednesday evening, so check in often, and love to have everybody there. And also the other ham who mentioned that he just got his first QSL card. It reminded me of my first cards that I got, too, way back when I had them and placed them in a recipe card box or something like that, and I wonder where that is. I'll have to dig it out. Break for recess. Now for your question, John, as Joel knows, I can't think back that far, so I don't know what the first 2-meter antenna was, but I can tell you what the last one was. It's a really cool antenna build made out of copper pipe. It's about a 2-meter long antenna, so it's a full wavelength, I believe, that is folded in on itself. I call it a square. I call it a cube, I guess. Call it a cube. And we take it and use it once a week for the coffee clutch net. That's another net that's much smaller that we have, and we do that one on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But I use the cube itself on Wednesday mornings. The net meets at 9:30 on this same repeater. So that I do remember, John. Back to you, WA9TT.
Thank you, Larry. I think you brought that cube into one of the meetings one time. I remember seeing it by your table. Next, Gene and Harrison, KE8KWF. How you doing, Gene?
Hey, good evening, John. Sorry about that earlier. Hit the wrong button here, flipping around. So KE8KWF. First antenna is actually the one that I'm on tonight. It's Diamond. I want to say it's either Diamond X200 or 300. But I have it stuck up on a large pole, mounted an old tripod, from an old roof television antenna, and put the steel mast through it. Sits up, I don't know, almost 25 or 28 feet. And been using that now. It's my 5th year. It's probably due to be brought down and done some servicing on it. But yeah, that's my first and only so far, besides the rubber ducks that came on my initial HDs. So with all that, thanks for doing the net. I'll turn it back over to you. KE8KWF.
Thank you, Gene. Next we have Rod, KT9WCK. Good evening, Rod.
Good evening to you and to everyone on the net. My first 2-meter antenna is the one I'm using right now. I bought it shortly after I got my license, and it's a Diamond X510. It's up on a 20-foot pole, and it seems to do a real good job, so I think I'll stick with it. Back to net, KD9WCK.
Thank you, Rod. Bob, KD9GCX. How are you this evening?
This is Bob, KD9GCX. Doing great. Thanks, John, for doing the net tonight. Hello, everybody. My first 2-meter antenna I'm talking on right now, it's a DIPOLE. I bought it from a guy over in Wausau, KB9VBR, and it works great. It's up in my attic, and it's my main antenna. So back to net control. This is Kilo Delta 9 Golf Charlie X-Ray.
Thanks, Bob. Yeah, DIPOLEs are pretty good antennas. Next, we have Greg, W1GCS. Greg, how are things?
Good evening, John. This is W1GCS. Thanks for doing the net tonight, and hello to everyone listening out there. And congratulations to our new hams. Welcome to the club. The fraternity, as WA9TT mentioned, great to have more people coming in working on the hobby. My first 2-meter antenna was the rubber duck that came with my handheld. That's the first radio I had, so technically that's the first one. Shortly after that, I went to a ham swap and picked up a copper J-pole from somebody else mentioned. I think it's the guy in Wausau that makes it himself. So I got that and put it up in the attic, and that's been my go-to 2-meter antenna since then. Back to the net. This is Whiskey 1, Golf Charlie Sierra.
Thanks, Craig. I don't see WI also, I mean W1. Next we have Roy, KC9 VLP. Roy, how are things this evening?
KC9 VLP, Roy here in Appleton. Things are going very good, John. Thanks for doing the net tonight, and I want to reiterate what some of the rest of you have said. It's really good to hear all these new call signs. We're up to the D as far as the suffix goes. We're getting close to the end of the alphabet, but there's a lot of new call signs that I have not heard before. So welcome to the club, just like Larry and Josephine has been. Well, the first antenna that I use, I'm just using my handheld right now, and it was about an 18-inch. I took the rubber duck off right away. They said it was not working right, and I had about an 18-inch rubber antenna on my HT, but that was not hitting the repeater very constantly. So my really good first antenna that I'm using right now is a Diamond MR77, 20-inch mag mount. It's magnetically tucked to the top of our refrigerator for a ground plane. I do have a GP15 hanging in the garage. It's been put up. I've had that now for a couple of years. I've tried that, but I have not put that up yet outside. So I'm still on my handheld broadcasting from my kitchen table here with about a 20-foot cable over to the table. So, back to you, John, at KC9TFM, this KC9VLP, Roy.
Thanks, Roy. Good idea on using a antenna on the refrigerator. Next we have Bill, N9TNW. Good evening, Bill. How are things in downtown Kimberly?
N9TNW, Bill in Kimberly, downtown Kimberly in Hoboken. Anyway, good evening, John, and everyone on the net. I'm really surprised at how many people checked in tonight. It's great. And the new hams. It's always cool to get the new hams. It reminds you of a lot of new things that we used to do. Anyway, my antenna, my first antenna, of course, was a rubber ducky, because usually you buy an HT at least to start. And then somewhere along the line, I built a ground plane using grazing rods and an SO239 connector. The connector that you drill a hole in a chassis for it connected to the chassis. Great for reset. Anyway, it's like a ground plane antenna, about 18 inches high, and then 4 radios that go out and downward angle. And it works pretty darn good. Ended up using that for fox hunts when we were lucky enough to be the fox. We use that for the antenna because it's just about invisible in the brush. So that's a good one to come up with. I don't know where the heck I found it, but I don't have it anymore. It worked darn good. Anyway, then I bought a $10 mag mount for the car. The real fine wire one that cost about $10, and it works fine. Anyway, back to you, John, and TSW.
Thank you, Bill. See, that's pretty good. Next you have Craig, in and out, KD9YJH. Robert, KD9ZEZ. Go ahead, please. KD9ZEZ, go ahead, please. I heard part of your transmission, not all of it. Okay, we'll head on to Steve, W9SJO. Good evening, Steve. How are things?
Good evening, John, and to the rest of the net. My first 2-meter antenna was the rubber duck that came on the Anytone 878. I quickly stepped that up to a diamond SRJ 77. It's about 18 inches. And I also have about a 4-foot retractable, I think, which is maybe 5/8 wide for it. I like to experiment as we have to do. So with that, I'll turn it back to net. W9SJF.
Thank you, Steve. I see you have Mike, WI9, Mike.
Thanks, John, and good evening to everybody on the net. I think Craig is back, although he said in and out. I thought that's what he said. Anyway, to answer the question of the evening, like everybody else, the rubber duck, I tried upgrading to the Nagoya. That worked worse than the rubber duck, so I'm going to tell you that I went the bill route. I did the 1/4-inch ground plane atop a couple of pieces of nested PVC, and that worked fantastic for about a year and a half until I was trying to bust the ice off of the PVC, and the one radiator did kind of a dive into the snow, and then I swapped it out for a ladder line J-pole that went about 2 years until the connector filled up with water, and I had to upgrade to a commercial one. So with that, I'll turn it back to net from WI9, Mike.
Thank you, Mike. Interesting story. Craig, KD9YJH, go ahead, please. Thank you, Craig. Next you have Nick, N9PAR. Good evening, Nick. You'll try him again later. Jamie, KD9RQF. How are you this evening?
Hey, yeah, I'm pretty good. Thanks for doing that there, John. Yeah, it sounds like we have a couple new hams. I wasn't at the last meeting, so I kind of had a couple things come up. I wanted to catch Andy's presentation on coax because I find that stuff interesting. For my first antenna, I guess I don't know if I really can count this as a ham radio antenna, but the OE254, Mike probably knows what that is. The military antenna. I kind of got me into ham radio a little bit anyway, so I'll count it. And then a Baofeng rubber duck, and then a Nagoya for my Baofeng, which I guess there's a few. You gotta be careful when you buy those things off Amazon because there's some knockoffs going around. I think there's a way to tell, but I don't remember how. And then for HF, I built a fan dipole, and I really like that. I use it a lot. It works really good, as well as a magnetic loop antenna. And with those two antennas, I can get on 6 meters all the way to, technically, I guess I made a single sideband contact on 160 on my mag loop, so they work pretty good. KD9 RQF, back to net.
Thanks, Jamie. I remember you were talking about that magnetic loop you were designing it about a year ago, I think. Any more check-ins from the net? This is KC9 TFN.
Control, this is Alpha Charlie 9, X-Ray Whiskey, Dog and Ribbon, no traffic.
Net control. Net control, this is Kilo Delta 9, Romeo, Papa Whiskey, Rudy and Little Shoot, no traffic.
Net control. Net control, this is Kilo Delta 9, Tango X-Ray Alpha, Beta and Appleton.
KC9 TFN. The net would like to recognize Doug, KC9 XW, Rudy, KD9 RPW, and Dina, KD9 TXA. Next question is, you want to talk about that as well as your first 2-meter antenna out of workout. Doug and Griffin, AC9 XW, go ahead, please.
AC9XW, Doug and Ribbon. Besides the rubber ducky antenna of HT, my first antenna was a mag mount on a file cabinet, which worked okay until the mag mount, which was really old, kind of fell apart. Then there was to Ed Talk from DIPOLE, South California, and he shipped that to me. Now I just have an inexpensive tran up on the roof. It's about 6 feet above the roof line, and that's getting me all over the place. Although the DIPOLE works just fine too. So that's my first 2-meter, 70-centimeter antenna. And back to you. Thank you for hosting.
Thank you, Doug. We have a good, strong signal from Ribbon. Let's give Rudy, KD9 RPW. Rudy. John, thanks for doing the net tonight. Good evening, everybody. Congrats to the new hands out there. Good to hear you. My first antenna was the rubber ducky, which I soon upgraded to the FRJ or the Diamond FRJ77. And right now, I'm transmitting on an antenna I got on my son Mike. This is about a 12-foot long piece of PVC pipe that's got some copper cable wrap on it. Also, I've got 4 axes, and that's been pretty good for me. Back that I control, 89 RPW. PVC was the teeth that wrapped out on some of the tripping. CXT and 89 98 yep. Last call for check. You want to check on the speed go down to KC9 and get that back. Before I close enough that I can make sure the other here to hold it up. I'm going to one 4.5.33 oval and 4.36 cent. Both of the field built on the purpose. And that's an interesting joining one from the steady road that I agree. It's built up as a year since I got out. Contact us for 18 years message. Amature home, third one lives on the Maplewood Road School. 1600 Maplewood with action. Using us as a local time. Look for the video for 770. Look for the video for 770. The information is updated 5 years later. Visit the website www.sdrc.com. I'd like to thank all the issues to check in tonight, especially all those there. And to the first president and activity, 7993. This is another activity amateur radio production. Although interested, the treasurer will come back at normal activities. 733 and 333. PC998.